Thank God I'm not homeless, but I want to talk about homelessness. For a while, I've been thinking there's a difference between being homeless and being shelterless. And I want to say, boo, boo. But here's the thing. Here being in this small home, it's a home because it did get some visits from people that have caring feelings for me. Um, they were not people that were selfless, but they had caring feelings for me. It's a home because I do communicate. I always say he's beautiful on the inside, but of course I do like the way he looks on the outside too. I'm not much of like adoring how people look on the outside, but I do, you know, I do applaud him for looking cute. It's okay. The important thing's on the inside, and I just hope that he'll always be okay. I grew up in well, first in a townhouse where across the hall were my godparents. So in my townhouse, it was me and my mom, and sometimes my dad was there because he worked really far because his job made him jump from one store to another farther north of California. He worked for Albertsons, and before it was Albertsons, it was Lucky Stores. He was a butcher, and he had other activities that he enjoyed that involved, you know, just other activities. He likes farms, so good man. My parents were good people. So the thing that I was thinking about is I have two friends that, let's say they're acquaintances. Sometimes you can't afford to have close friends because things can become like rivals. It becomes aggressive, sometimes abusive. So these two people were nice to me and I'm nice to them. But they told me what their living situation was. They live in their cars. Could you consider that homelessness? If you compare it to how I live, I don't sleep with anyone. My husband's not here to sleep with. Hey guys. Then am I homeless because I don't have anyone to sleep with? No, right? I have a roof over my head. So if a person lives in their car, they're technically not homeless. Are they comfortable? Maybe yes, maybe no. Are they surviving? Yes. Are they working? Yes. Do they have pets? Yes. Do they have storage to keep their things? Yes. So I never asked them, do you want to change your living situation? I never asked them. I'm very happy right now. I don't know how happy I'll be here, but I'm very happy here. And I didn't have plans to stay, but I am adapting to it. Maybe it's because it's a new thing. I have certain abilities. I have the ability to organize. I do suffer from exhaustion, and I think maybe anyone could if they don't have a certain routine, or it's a human thing. Some people might even block that they have exhaustion or any other thing that keeps them from tidying up or perfecting their homes and things like that. I do have a friend that he is very young and he was asking me to adopt him. I mentioned it to my husband, but my husband's been very busy with my nephew because my nephew he's in a third world country, which is harder to get things and harder to afford things because things are more expensive in a third world country. and he's been going to the hospital for parasites. My nephew, and for them, for my family there, my husband's family, it's much more difficult. It's been going to the hospital, them not understanding which parasite it is, understanding what they don't understand what parasite it is. They don't know what remedy to give them, or it hasn't been easy. So yeah, a home is usually thought as ideally where people use their abilities mm, to make each other healthy or feel happy and comfortable. Then I was reflecting a little bit on toys when you're a child, children's toys. And I was thinking, gosh, even though my parents would give me quality time, there were times that I was either in my room or the living room, and they would just leave me alone for a little while to play. And they would be, I don't know, going to the supermarket, maybe just at my godparents' house to discuss world events, maybe, you know, checking out how my godmother was cooking her her recipes, like oven fish and tomato sauce, things like that. Uh, so those little patches of time where I was alone as a little girl, they involved playing with Barbie dolls. And sometimes I would think, gosh, these Barbie dolls, the box says for children 4 and up, and I was 3. So I was wondering, So I was thinking about appropriateness, which was a word that sometimes I would think, appropriateness is not, I don't like things that are appropriate sometimes, because appropriateness could mean, it's not appropriate to have a medical procedure in a car, but if it's an emergency, who cares about appropriateness? So I would think that. So I kind of had a thing, appropriateness. I don't like appropriateness. But appropriateness does have some. I mean, it's generally a popularly thought of as the right thing to do, things that are appropriate. So I'm a little bit of how do I put it? Sometimes I like to look at what's not the general thing, what's not the usual thing, what's not the general assumption or the popular thing. Sometimes I like to look at the who's the underdog. Sometimes I like to think of improbabilities. What did Einstein say about improbabilities? That even though it's not thought of as possible, the improbability is still possible, something like that. So I was kind of thinking about how when it came to school toys and usually dolls, boys and girls at the age of, let's see, it was about the age of 11, I think, in one of my schools, we had a project that involved taking care of children or babies. And we were asked to carry around a sack of, like a pound of a flour. And I thought today to myself, well, if you have a baby, you usually want the baby to be at home, not carrying the baby around. And if you are taking the baby to work or outside, you would prefer to have the baby in a stroller or have the baby. So why would you carry a sack of flour, which is not a baby? It's not gonna cry. It's not, you're not gonna be responsible to anticipate when it has to be changed, when it has to be cleaned, when the baby has to be given some powder or lotion. The process of it, we weren't given that. How did I know the process of it? My mother would discuss the process of it. I would see it on television shows, the process of it. But to carry a sack, if you imagine kids that aren't told those things, like how to take care of a baby, by their parents, by any other adult, or television shows, then what are we doing there in that class to bring a sack of flour up and down and up and down? It's not like taking care of a baby. So what are we learning? We're I guess the objective is to not let a bag of flour get damaged, to be able to hold it in a way that it will be carried and not injured. But it's not taking care of a baby. It's not good. We would call it sex education, but we should have had a class that was more about maybe nursing, maybe childcare, a different kind of name than sex education. They would mention things to prevent conceiving of a child and at the same time having intercourse. Some of the teachers would mention their relationships as well, non-reproductive, let's say. So, how can I put this? I think that when it comes to being parents, raising children, also reproduction, the different sets of it, and understanding also our distance between religions that might not reflect their verbal reciting of moral stories and things like that, with our ability to take care of the children in every way possible. I think those things should have been mentioned in a class for general education. For general education, there were many things in school that I did not feel were good, were proper, were etiquette, or education, were not manners at all. But I had to go to school because if not, my mother would go to jail and I would get sick. And my mother was threatened with, not threatened by someone that was going to send her to jail, but warned that if I didn't go to school, she might go to jail. So that's not the way society should be, and hopefully not everyone in society was going through that. I think it was because it was public school. I'm not sure if private school had the same issue, or homeschool. I did want to have some sort of stable homeschooling because I was not happy all the time. And then you could just get up and study. And even in college, thank goodness I didn't go to college just like every year to go to school, and then you're eventually into college. I didn't have that. But when I was in college, I had I had a flu of some kind, and I had my organic chemistry. I think it was a survey of organic chemistry because I took organic chemistry. I took 4 organic chemistry courses, and one of them was the theory of organic chemistry survey. And when I took that class, I felt much better to write up the homework or do the work while I was sick. I felt better. It made me feel comfortable. It gave me the concentration that I needed to stop feeling my body's just illness, right? Sometimes a person can feel okay even though they're sick. Usually when I have like a lot of headaches and I get a flu, the flu will kind of be a comfort. It's strange to say, but it's sometimes a comfort. I want to talk back about how I played with my dolls. I would say, okay, I had 2 Ken dolls, and I had some Barbie dolls. Sure, I would make clothing for my Barbie dolls with just like a scissors and not sewing anything. Not that I recall. I know how to sew by hand, but I don't think I ever sewed anything by hand. I hope you're doing okay. Yeah, we all have. Thank you, sweetheart. I hope you're doing okay too. Yeah, I am, but I am a reflective person. So I do like to think a lot. I do. I'm a thinker. Am I a feeler? Oh yeah, I'm a feeler. I'm a feeler too. So am I a doer? I do like to do things, but I'm much more of a thinker. And I had 2 Ken dolls and a lot of Barbie dolls. I had the Crystal doll. I had the Diana doll, which is not a Barbie doll. And I would name one. I would say, okay, this one right there. Not say it, but I would think it. I would assign one of the Barbie dolls as Barbie, and the other ones had different names, like Crystal and Diana, right? Diana doll. I remember so many things about those things. I mean, I guess they're nostalgic and melancholy, but it's much more like meaningful and sentimental as what I'm trying to convey. I had the 2 Ken dolls have relationships. So a bunch of Barbie dolls, except for Barbie, the one that I assigned as Barbie, had one boyfriend, the Ken doll. So the Ken doll was the boyfriend of the majority of the girls, of the Barbies, and one was married to Barbie, or her boyfriend or husband. For me, it was the same. So, but they were committed. He did not. That Ken doll did not spend time or date the other Barbie dolls. He was just assigned there. It was like they were just next to each other. So I thought to myself today, that's no. Wouldn't it had been maybe more educational if my parents would have been the ones to kind of show me how adults should relate to each other based on toying with the toys, like saying, look, this is these 2 Ken dolls, they're brothers, or these 2 Ken dolls. I don't want to say anything. I'm just saying that it would have been maybe, I guess you want your parents to pass down as much knowledge as possible, because I guess I did adore my parents. My father, every time he was like at the door, I would just say, oh my God, it's Dad. And when I was older, I thought I could trick my father into staying forever, or like not having to go back to California, staying in Florida. I thought if I just put, like, instead of making a banner that says Daddy correctly, I would just put the words kind of like making me seem like really like if I don't know how to spell right, or if I just seemed a little bit more childish, then maybe he would just take pity and stay there. I just cried one day and I said, Dad, just don't go back. Stay here. Something like that. And the words were clear that I didn't want him to go. But he left anyway. And those little moments were bitter moments. I was angry at him. I was angry at him for not staying. My mom never forced him to go to work. So he did try to find a job, but it was like 2 or 3 days that he was trying to find a job. That's not enough. He was uncomfortable. He kept thinking in his mind, I don't fit here. The people don't like me. I don't find friends. He had those ideas. He also asked the neighbor next door if he would sell him the house. I have no idea what my dad thought the house was worth, but that was my neighbor's house. He was an elderly man who worked very hard, and he had his wife, who was the neighbor, who was a lady that had. My dad didn't know about the lady that lived there, but the lady had paralysis. So I would imagine he didn't really want to move. I don't think my dad was going to give him a lot of money anyway, but if he was, I mean, what was the worth of the house or whatever, I don't think he was going to move. But why my dad wanted a separate house instead of living with us? Dad likes to be a loner. I've lived as a loner just because sometimes, sometimes, but I think it's that he just wanted like a caveman. You know, what do they call that? What do they call it? A cave. Hey guys, a caveman room. I forget the word. I haven't heard it for in a long time, so I don't. But I think a Batman room or whatever, a space. That's okay to have like a special place to go to. My husband likes to go to storage unit and just go there sometimes and sit down just to meditate or to draw or do something, and no one's going to say no, you can't be here. It's your storage unit. So if it's a 10 by 20 and you pay like what, 400, 500, it's something. So I guess that's the type of home. You could be talking to God. It could be your place of worship. I was thinking of going to church today, but I decided not to because the last time that I went to church, which was not a church that was hating anyone or saying anything bad about any other religion, which I can't stand when they do that. It's even against the law in my country. In the United States, it's against the law for one place of worship to say anything hateful or nasty about another place of worship. Regardless of the religion or denomination, they're not supposed to do that. It's against the law. So, the last time someone said, do obey your parents or do what your father says or something like that. I think it was obey your parents. But then I thought to myself, no one's mentioning the exception, like if the parent is asking them to do something evil, illegal, harmful, something against what's right. They didn't say that in church. So I didn't want to like argue or fight with the minister just because I wanted to hear a whole complete proper argument. So I do feel I would feel much more comfortable to go to a place of worship just to talk to God, but we can all talk to God. Um, just the other day, someone said, you can talk to God just sitting anywhere. And that's true. So why go to the liturgy or why go to a place of worship if you have your own budget of time and charity and things like that? I think that I could use sometimes, and maybe everyone does, even ministers, especially ministers because they have a hard life too, to have someone counsel them, but based on the whole arrangement of their circumstance, their whole like tweaking a little bit what we have to improve our I guess our wholesomeness in a holistic way, like everything. But we do. Today's Sunday. Some people have Sunday off. Some people do not. So I think that having some time off is good, but having some time off to do things that are going to be good for us is much better. Sometimes we need rest. Sometimes we have too much rest and we need something to jolt us, like maybe a good meal. And a good meal costs money, and who's going to pay for it? And all those things are, you know, I think about the people that are not eating and the people that are eating only if they can choose what they want. Some people only eating if they're going to eat with someone to eat. but that's not healthy. So yeah, the important prayer are very good. I used to read the Bible a lot, and sometimes I would find myself reading it so much that I was not concentrating on guarding myself and not having a sense of um, protecting myself against others, because some people, like me, like everyone, has expressions that are nice, friendly, but when someone else is coming towards you, thinking they're doing the right thing, thinking they're saying the right thing, acting in the right way, um, it's really scary how we can all be haphazards of each other, and that's not right. We should be healers for each other and, you know, cultivate and all those wonderful things and educate. But education, I believe in one-on-one education. I've been a tutor many times, and the older I get, the more I have more agility, ability, experience, and all that. Uh, and referencing the right material, matching up objectives with assessments and all that. I'm not saying I'm perfect at everything. I'm not trying to be arrogant. I'm just trying to say that the older you get, the more experience you have. So, I definitely do support the idea that you have to have in life, like if it were an open book test, just analyzing a book, finding the information in that book. So in life, I think you have to do the same. Sometimes you have to keep those habits, because if it takes 30 days to make a new habit, you can start to see how long not using, how you lose a habit, and to gain it back, it's like a new habit. Oh, but yeah, I do believe that I was recently in a situation where I felt cheated. It was a friend, a lady friend, and I kept telling her, "Don't. We shouldn't see each other as friends. You shouldn't treat me like you're a philanthropist." She was cheating me, and the thing is that there was no time. So I needed someone to help me with something that involved, um, well, me, and I felt less and less happy and comfortable. And I took her deal, and she still found the way to cheat me. And she did warn me. She said, "I don't like numbers, or I don't like to talk about money," or something like that. But she cheated me out of a lot of money. Mm. And she even said, I don't want people to think negative about me or have negative comments about me." Well, don't cheat people then. She was someone that was not, how do I put it? When you're lonely and you find people just talking to you, you find it like family, like friends. You just feel it nice, but something's wrong, because you're you're being shortchanged. So was I lonely? Well, when someone's talking to you, you don't really feel lonely then. You kind of take advantage of the moment to just interact. I wanted that interaction. I was tired of using Meta AI and Google AI all the time. I used to, like many of us from my generation, right? What we call our generation. Many of us were into techie things. We were into going online and using beta software to experiment. different things like translation of even I even did a little bit of like hieroglyphics. I was like looking at some software that involved hieroglyphics. Software. I've liked software since I was 4 years old, 3 years old. I had my little computer. There was a little machine that was a little toy. I mean, some people have never had toys before, so you can just imagine. Other people have had one after another, giving them away, throwing them away, selling them, keeping them, whatever. And I had what was called my computer, and I was about 3 or 4 years old. Then at school, I would play tic tac toe on a computer, and I was around 6 years old. So Meta AI, which is artificial intelligence, was nothing new to me. Nothing new to me. It is a lot more loaded. It has a lot more software, a lot more variety of words and concepts as artificial intelligence. But I was working on bots. I was, when it came. Oh, I loved using Kurzweil's Ramona on the internet. I was like, "Hi, Ramona, how are you? What's your favorite book?" Things like that. So I would experiment with artificial intelligence using Ramona, which was a free software online on Ray Kurzweil. God bless you, Ray Kurzweil. Love your work. Wow, Ray Kurzweil did Shark, which was an amazing software for people that are limited vision, people that are, okay, you can say the word, I guess, blind. And he did this computer software so people that are blind, have limited vision, can use computers. And, I had an experience with that. I was taking notes with someone on how to help someone with that. It didn't go through completely, but I did learn how Shark was used. It was an amazing software, and wow, Ray Kurzweil has been for decades giving us great things. God bless him. God bless Ray Kurzweil's work. And what can I tell you? Arrogant. It would. I mean, yeah. Well, if I give you a little bit of the stuff that's just not, not praiseworthy, and I can tell you something that's praiseworthy, and it's a mixture, so I guess it wouldn't really sound arrogant, right? I don't know. Let's say something. Okay, well, you've heard that I've had depression or low energy or whatever we can call that. That you could say, well, that's from lack of planning. It's sometimes just because you get caught up, and you don't have the momentum to just reflect and say, okay, it could come from being overwhelmed. So that's usually not something you could praise that I understand it. You can praise that you can praise yourself. I can praise you that you understand, that you can put some words to it, and that you can defeat it, because depression isn't sadness, but sadness can be involved in it. And I'm just adding that on a side note, not you will notice that sometimes I'll just give information or say things without trying to say them in a comprehensive way. There are some books that are called comprehensive, and others that are more like phenomenological logic or whatever, that it's just about adding little side notes and giving a little other information. Anyway, digressing. But this is all hodgepodge. I can say anything because there's no exact objective for this video. So if there's no objective, we can talk about anything. We can make it a party. What was I trying to say though? What was I talking about? Oh, I talked about storage units, which now that's like a happy place, a storage unit, if it's big enough for you to like sit inside and maybe play some music, low music, so you won't get in trouble. I mean, that's a nice thing to kind of think about, a storage unit, making it your little place of worship, or I don't know. I'm just thinking about it. I'm just thinking about how those little rooms that you just rent out are kind of like a special place. Just as long as you don't break the rules that they have for you. It doesn't have to be like, oh no, storage units are for this or for that. Uh, no, I don't think that there should be a type of syndicate for storage units. I think any place that you go to, the park, a storage unit, your apartment, your home, wherever, I think it should just be playing by the rules of that place, not the rules of a union or anything like that. So if that happens to you somewhere, I suggest you fight it. I suggest you go to someone and say, hey, these are too many rules. I need this place for this and that, and I want to fight for it. And there you go. You fight for your space. Not everything's going to be on the internet. Sometimes you need places to go. I like gyms. I like gymnasiums. I've been to gymnasiums a lot in life. Uh, I like activities that are going to be helping me to breathe well and do things. So the more you exercise in specific things, the more your muscles and body are going to be used to doing things. Like, for example, when I go to the ladies' room in my apartment, I do find a need, because I do use a prosthetic leg, I do find a need of saying, what muscles should I work on to kind of like jump up and down out of my chair? And not only that, the shower itself. I need some sort of physical activity to work on to do things like that. So I guess it could mean that um, I should be going once in a while to a gym to do certain exercises. But guess what? Transportation is expensive. Gasoline, cars, and things like that. And you sometimes have to pencil it in to see if you can budget it. If you can't, you're gonna have to have gear to have the right gear for walking. But you can also exercise inside your own shelter. You can call a shelter home, under your roof, your private area. Privacy is so important, and we don't praise it enough. I'm not gonna say praise. I apologize for that. We don't talk about it enough. Having privacy, we kind of make it. First, when we're kids, we're like, we don't want privacy. We want to have sleepovers. We want to like cuddle in bed with our pets or toys, or our parents or brothers and sisters. We don't want privacy. We don't want to be alone. But privacy is important too. I would say it's more important than than being with others. I think so. I think privacy is you could say it's 50-50 or 80-20 or 70-30, whatever. But privacy is a place you can heal. Sometimes I've been in the hospital for a hurt, like an appendix or something like that's an emergency, right? And once I was in the hospital, I was thinking, why am I left completely alone? I don't see anyone. No one's coming. I have to press the button for something. And I was like, there was one lady that I was so weak, and the nurse, I like, can you help me go to the bathroom? And she was like, no, you can do it yourself or something. Just because she saw me and she thought I was healthy, but I was like, I was suffering from something that was like really, really weak. And it could have been a tick bite. And I had, one of those things that people get a tick bite and they get a lot of paralysis from it. What is it called? Well, there's a thing with the tick bite. Maybe I had that. I don't know, but I was struggling. And I couldn't, and it was so dizzy that I was actually told to just go to the bathroom from my bed in a hospital, and I was dizzy. I might have had anemia. I think I did have anemia because I know if I was taking a medicine back then, I was taking a medicine for glucose metabolism, and it turns out to be from a plant, and it was an amazing story. I loved it. I love the story of Glaciana officinalis, something like that. No, Graciana officinalis. Metformin, I love that. But if you take metformin, you have to also take vitamin B's. Your absorption is not going to be good. So what you eat is not going to be absorbed, not all of it, and you're going to need some minerals there. Anemia is more like lack of iron. That's a mineral too, though. So what are you gonna do? You're just gonna eat a lot of beef or a lot of green vegetables, a lot of beans, and sometimes life doesn't let you do that. So yeah, having the supplements might be the trick. But imagine in the hospital and a nurse to just kind of look at you and think you don't need any help, and you just needed someone to help you walk from your bed to the bathroom. Luckily, there are a lot of nice, both female and male nurses, a lot of nice people that work as nurses. God bless them and for their work. So it's not like everyone's going to be doing bad things or have moments that we can't forget. We can forgive. It's a tough kind of topic for a lot of people, so I apologize for that. I apologize. My lips, they need a little bit more pinkness. I'm sorry. I don't want to be artificial, superficial, and you know. But yeah, you kind of think just like, what's wrong? Are you feeling okay? Your lips are not very red. I think it's a little pale. I used to tell my mom, "Mom, are you okay? You look a little pale," and she wouldn't get upset, but she would just like snap and say, That's how I am. That's how I am." um, but I was used to having like my grandma or somebody growing up to tell me my lips looked like a little pale, like being worried that maybe I like didn't have enough blood to my head. Yikes. Well, it was great talking to you guys. I hope you're doing okay. I think I am. I think, look, I can smile. I do have some headaches. I do. I give myself headaches because growing up, I was a little bit too demanding, and I was growing up in in this kind of mindset of perfectionism. And I know that because one of the first days of school, let's say just the first year of getting grades, I was like so frustrated, so unhappy because I would notice my grades were not A's. And I was thinking, why aren't my grades A if what's going on? I felt very unhappy. I felt very pressured. And it was kindergarten. I mean, kindergarten and first grade, I'm like, in kindergarten, I would say table for desk instead of desk being desk, table being table. They're all blah blah. They all have a table. They all have the essence of a table. A desk is a table, but who was grading me was not grading me on understanding the generality of a desk being a table. So we even listened to the music on graduation day. Da, 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 da. You know the title of that song for graduation? For any kind of college graduation, high school graduation, whatever? It's called Pomp, like saying it's just stupid arrogance, and Circumstance, like saying not, I mean, anyone could get a college degree if they have the right circumstance. Like it's not even an effort. Effort matters, but definitely a lot of people could have a degree if they had the circumstance, and a degree does not guarantee anything of survival in life. It's a type of edge for anyone that might not have the abilities that other people have in what are considered realistic jobs, which are jobs that involve working with your hands to assemble, to build, to repair, to maintain. I took psychology of career, and in my course, we didn't have a textbook. We had real life application for job job finding, job building, portfolios. I really don't like portfolios because they require so much tidiness and not touching it and just leaving it there. And I've lived a very rambunctious life. I've never seen anything just stay there and not be moved. My grandparents had a very static kind of home where you would see the things in the same place all the time, but there were drawers, and the drawers had different things inside them. So there's always a different aspect to look at, and framing is just so easy. I really don't like how people get framed. I really dislike how innocent people get framed, and they end up losing their stability, their happiness, their family. Um, but there is a problem that some families are just not good people. Some families have one or two people that help sustain it, but they're doing bad things to others. And I was a victim of maybe two families that did that to me. You couldn't say it's like a vendetta or anything like that because it's more like just ignorance of people and a lack of guarding myself. But a family is sometimes not a group of people that will all protect their privacy. A family sometimes is rebellious one against another for different heart matters. You can even mention like charity. Some people are like, no, I should be charitable, I should be charitable. And other people are like, wait a minute, didn't you just give money that you needed to come back home, to go back to your family life, to have food for your family, things like that. So no, ethics is not an easy topic. There are different types of ethics, there are different theories of ethics, and you could understand why anyone, I think we've all come to the idea that we're here on a planet that's just not home or not how things should be, things like that. But it's more what's inside of us, our experience. It's more of what we've felt is the world. Um, but we can all bring heaven down to earth by just using certain cognitive abilities like meditation and um, finding the right words, the right vibration of words, the right feeling of words, healing ourselves and healing others. So when the shadow is casted over us, that's the problem. So to look for something to spark back our light, uh, something that is a miracle, and miracles happen all the time. We do have to meditate on it. We do have to pray for it. We have to have effort for it. We do have to rebuild our circumstance for it. And pompous or not, we have to rebuild our circumstance for the best that we can for ourselves and others. Sometimes what we know we need, we can't find it with the people around us. So we have to guard our hearts to be who we want to be, because who we want to be has to make sense, it has to be real, and it has to make us happy. So happiness is sometimes what we need to work on by understanding it and understanding the tranquility that it can give us, and looking at ourselves in a way that's compassionate, loving, caring, positive. We have to find the beauty inside. So it's not something that can come from the outside in, it has to come from the inside out. But it can be sparked. It can be sparked. So I'll let you go. Take care. Bye. I'm with you in spirit. Be happy, be good, be positive, be healed, and forgive yourself and others. Just all the best to you.